Hello everybody, welcome back to the Ketchup Café, where we catch up with old friends, new friends, or myself. Today we got a very lovely guest. We got Celina in the house. So happy that we're able to, just sit here. We're actually at a park. We're in this nomadic kind of cafe where we can record anywhere. And today we're at a park in BC. I'm finally settled in BC in the summer, first time in so long. It's a beautiful sunny day. And we got some drinks here. So I made a mocktail for myself and I made a cocktail for Celina here because she's a drinker. She's a drinker. And I'm just gonna talk a little bit about this cocktail I made for Celina. It's semi catered to you, right? As in it was just an inspiration, but it was based on my intuition of you and all the stories I've heard from you. So I had a feeling you were a margarita girl.
I am.
Okay, off to a good start, because I had a feeling you like tequila. So this is a yuzu beer garita. That's the name of this drink. And the inspiration came from making a margarita where there's a little citrus, orange liqueur. Instead of that, I used yuzu liqueur, Japanese yuzu liqueur, and then I mixed that with some orange juice, no pulp. And then we did a shot of tequila, a heavy shot, because she likes it strong. And she said she doesn't like it sweet.
I don't like it sweet.
Yeah, she doesn't like it sweet. And then we topped it up with beer.
My second love.
Yeah, she loves beer. Every time we go out, she gets a beer, even if it's lunch.
Okay.
But yeah, have a sip. Have a sip. Do you like it?
I like it. It tastes like a mimosa.
Mimosa. I mean, I guess mimosa is orange juice and champagne. But this is
Tequila. I like it better with the tequila.
Okay, good. I'm happy.
It's good.
Yeah, but yeah, the reason why the beer that I'm using is limited. It's passion fruit popper. It's called the passion fruit popper from 33 Acres in Vancouver. If you're in the city, please go there and check it out, because this is my love, but this is also Celina's love.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is where we first met each other in real life. We've been talking online and
yes.
We met over Zoom because we live in a pandemic world back in 2020?
Yes.
Yeah.
2020.
But we met in real life at 33. So
Yes.
it's a little ode to how we met.
Yes.
Okay, so for me, I'm doing mocktail because I'm the designated driver here today, and I gotta run this podcast sober. I got a peachy cold brew tonic. So the little inspiration behind that is I love a good espresso tonic in the summer, which is just espresso with tonic water. It's like a bubbly coffee. The first time I ever had it was in Seattle. And I just traveled there by myself, randomly, and I went to a coffee shop and they just served. I'm like, what? I didn't understand the concept, but I had it and I was like, this is the best summer drink ever. A bubbly coffee that's cold. And I like my coffee cold. I don't love hot coffees, only cortados. But yeah, I was shook. And so I wanted to blend this with cold brew with a K, because I make my own cold brew.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. But here at the Ketchup Cafe, K, cold brew with a K.
I get
That's
it.
our signature cold brew. And then we got some Japanese peachy tea. It's just a mix, instant peach tea. Put the powder in, mix it with water. So it has that really Japanese peach, that pink. Tastes like pink. I don't know if the color has a flavor, but it's that very iconic Japanese
Sakura color.
Yeah, Sakura, yeah, exactly. So it's that plus the cold brew, top it up with tonic water. And that, because there's a drink in Korea called, I might butcher it, but it's called a shachu, which is a peach tea Americano, or peach tea with espresso, iced. They drink it in the summer. And so I was like, I want to make that, but my version. And I feel like with the little bubble, it's like a tonic, like espresso tonic. So I'm just gonna have a sip.
It looks good though. I would, but I've had too much coffee today.
Yeah, she had lots of coffee. Now it's time for her to day drink.
Yes, I like this.
Yeah. And then she was so kind enough to bring a surprise snack here at the Ketchup Café. Can you introduce these waffles?
Yes, they're Belgian waffles from Chambar, which, by the way,
Yes.
is a great brunch place. And one of the few brunch places in Vancouver that take reservations, because I hate waiting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so yeah, I got the Belgian waffles, and then I also got dark chocolate and milk chocolate lavender like toppings where you can like drizzle on top of the waffles.
I'm so excited.
The waffles are made in-house every day. Like it's so good. I mean, you can actually just eat the waffle straight, but I find it better with the chocolate.
I'm actually like so shook. Not that I didn't expect you to bring anything to this, but I didn't eat today.
Yeah,
So-
she told me she didn't eat. I'm like, who are you?
I mean, it's like I'm the type of person who's like, if I'm not hungry, I'm not
That's
gonna
true
eat.
though.
Like,
That's
I'm
true
not,
though.
I'm not people like who I eat based on the time of day. So I'm just gonna try it right now, like live.
Do
the,
it.
the waffle. So this is the milk chocolate lavender.
Yes.
So do I dip it or do I?
It's up to you. You can like dip it. You can like swervel it. It's up to you. You can eat it.
I'm a dipper.
There's like,
I'm a dipper.
good. You're a dipper. Good. Okay.
I'm gonna
like
taste
it?
the lavender.
Do you like it?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
That's so good.
Nice. I'm glad you like it.
And I really love dark chocolate.
Do you?
That's my go-to kind of chocolate.
Okay, because I wasn't sure what you liked, so I got two of
Oh,
them.
you're so
Because
sweet.
I like dark chocolate too,
Oh,
but then I was
wow.
like, I don't know if she likes dark chocolate, and then the milk chocolate lavender sounded fancy, so I was like, I'll get both.
No, I feel like our taste buds are similar.
Our tastes are similar,
Yeah. I think that's what also got us like.
vibing together.
But I mean, okay. So here's the thing. How we met was through. Well, maybe you should.
Yeah, so we met through this ministry called Testo that I lead like the creative team, and like Nash is like a super creative person, and so we got like introduced, and I was like just super inspired by her, and like her creative juices, and that's how we sort of like got connected, and we had our like first brunch at 33.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I pitched Amelia and you.
Yes.
I actually pitched. Well, I pitched someone named Callan, who's the founder of Atesto, and I was moving back to Vancouver, and I just wanted to invest my creative skills in a meaningful way. And I saw this ministry called Atesto, and what was the tagline? It's like,
Your life, his story.
yeah, your life, his story. His with a capital H, right? His meaning, like, I guess God here. And I mean, I come from a spiritual background, right? But I live my life pretty liberal. So I would say I wanted to grow with like-minded people, but in a very, like, I would say new age era.
I agree.
I'm not that traditional, I would say. So I'm all about the spirituality and just like spreading love, learning about how to love myself so I can love others better. But like when I saw this ministry, like your life, his story, I was so drawn to that. It was so simple because I'm like, I've decided to surrender my life to whatever I'm meant to do. I don't want to control it so much based on my own understanding or what I want to do in life, right? Like I just want to serve the people around me with love, and if I'm hurt or broken, I want to learn how to heal, and that's just basically my goal in life. And if that my story can be used to help others, then I'm gonna be vulnerable, and I'm okay with being vulnerable. And I think this platform, this space, the Ketchup Cafe, like I open it up. Like I'm not a very open person like online, but this is my way of just like being real with people without sharing the glitz and glam. Actually, I'm not about sharing the glitz and glam. I'm just like sharing actually the raw stuff. Maybe sometimes like not the fun stuff.
It's really good.
So yeah, I was super drawn to that ministry. Pitched to speak to you and Amelia, and we got along, and then yeah, we found. But then on top of that, I think we just found a friendship here.
We did,
and I think it was out of like learning from your life. Like I remember talking to you at 33. First time you told me about how your life didn't go as planned.
Yes.
And now, like looking back, you were like everything was meant to be.
Yes.
And when I met you, I was in such a bad place.
Yes.
I was hurting. I was lost. I was so lost. The season of that for me was I was lost. Everything was uncertain. I didn't know where my community stood. I didn't know what my career was, you know. And I was just questioning a lot about life. I'm like, what's the point? What's it all about? Why am I doing this? And you kind of just reminded me, like, through your experience, that it doesn't seem like it makes sense now, but it will. And I don't know, like, remind me, but like you went on some backpacking, like you did something.
Yes.
You went, like you started working and then you like dropped it and then you went backpacking.
Yes.
So yeah, tell me.
So I graduated university and I couldn't get a job my first year out. It was very hard. I worked like 3 part-time jobs. And I told myself, like, screw this. I'm just gonna like buy a one-way ticket.
What?
And backpack Europe by myself for 3 months because traveling was something I really wanted to do. But, you know, I have Asian parents. So they were like, you know, you have to go to university right after high school. So I did that. And so after I graduated, there was this like urge for me to like go see the world. So that's what I did. I quit my job, booked a one-way ticket, and I backpacked Europe for 3 months. And I would say that that was like really a time of like self-reflection, and I learned so much about myself and about this world and about like my own privilege and how I can live more humbly back home. And also like how, because I think in North America, we're just so in our bubble. Right? So when you like travel other places, you actually recognize, wow, like, we're actually not that great as North Americans. Like there's so much more innovation and beauty outside of our North American wall. So yeah, that was like probably the best part of my life, and that's why I encouraged you. Things will be different.
Or like even during that time frame, it's tough. It's like it plays a part in your life. You said every job you worked at gave you a skill.
Yes,
that,
it
like,
did.
What you're doing now, like you really see the reason why you were there. And I see that now in my own life. Like I recently like got a role that I really, really wanted, but weirdly enough in a tech company. But I also never expected to be in this role or want this role. But now after a year and a half of doing something that I really didn't like, my previous role, and now landing this that I really wanted, it's like you look back and you're like, you don't even know what you want.
It's true.
Until you like try or take the first step. So
I agree.
I'm super thankful for like meeting you that season and like being able to just like, you know, continue this friendship. Like I feel like there's so many more adventures that like we have yet to have.
I also love that we're both like spontaneous people.
No, I actually, I'm gonna be honest. We had lunch once and I was just ranting to Celina, going like, you know, I'm kind of sick of just like having so scheduled plans with people. I just like to, like, I want to do something, I just want to do it. And if I want to do it with someone, I just want, no offense, I just want someone to be available.
Yeah.
Right? And like, I feel like sometimes when we grow up, like adults are so planned. It's like, oh, let me look at my schedule. And then I respect everyone's time. I don't expect everyone to have open schedules here. But it's just sometimes nice where like, someone's free, you're free, and it's like, let's do it. Like, doesn't really matter like if you're like ready or not. It's just like, let's just go. Like, and that was a lot of things, like that was a lot of my life in, like, for example, Toronto. I lived in the city. It was easy to hang out with people. And now I live in the suburbs. It's funny because I am now living in Ladner. She actually grew
I grew up in Delta.
Yeah, she grew up in Delta, so she knows. But I mean, now it's a lot better, I would say. But still, like she knows the lifestyle that I live in now. It's like too. It's like so contrasted. So now I'm looking forward. Now the pandemic is slowly changing. I want to be able to connect with people more and like more freely. And I feel like meeting you was like honestly a blessing. Like maybe God planned this. I don't know. But like so stoked to like I don't know, like have some fun.
Have some adventures.
Yeah. Wait, I'm just gonna try this snack too. I got this seaweed snack. So it's like are you a chip lover?
I am a chip lover.
Because I'm a chip lover. Like I don't want to use bad terms here, but I'm a chip hoe.
Dude, I am too. That's why I don't buy chips at home.
I don't buy chips because I'll
dangerous.
just eat it in like one sitting.
I agree.
So like this is the alternative. It's sandwich. So seaweed, pumpkin seed, sesame seed, seaweed sandwich, and it's like crispy. Yeah.
No, this is really good.
Yeah. Some of them have almonds, some of them have pumpkin seeds. Bomb, right? Yeah. And it's like addictive. So here's your alternative. Healthy alternative.
Yeah, I need to buy those at T&T.
Yeah, get them.
Oh my god, so good.
It's really good. Yeah. I feel like the snacks and like the drinks have a bit of Asian, drop of Asian reference. Just because that's what we are here right now. Me, you. We come from the same background. That's another thing that brought us together.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not saying I only hang out with like people with the same background, but it's nice to have same background because there's some similarities and dynamics that we grew up with that's like unsaid.
Yeah, like upbringings.
Like we don't have to explain much. Family expectations and all that.
Yep.
I mean, every household is different, but I have empathy for like things that you've said. I completely get it. Yeah. So.
I agree. This is so good. I'm having my third.
Yeah.
one.
No,
oh my
just
gosh.
eat. So like you went from backpacking and then you came back. So what happened when you came back?
Well,
Back to reality.
I wasted a lot of money.
Oh.
No, actually.
No, not a waste. Investment. It was investment. You said it was
true.
the best time of your life.
It was, but I was so jobless. I remember I had to like pay for rent that month coming back because I moved in with my best friend. And like I was just like, dear God, I need you to open a door or I need to like move to Toronto or something. Because most of the jobs that I do in my background are on Toronto. But I didn't really want to go to Toronto because I personally don't like Toronto. Anyway, so then I applied for a bunch of jobs and then I got an interview, I think the second week I came back.
Oh wow.
And it was for like a maternity leave. And then I got the job in that week. Like they signed me and they're like, you're starting in October.
This sounds like my job right now. Like it was so, like I was applying and suddenly I just get an offer with this thing that I have.
No, it was incredible because I was because I was so frustrated my first year out of university.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes people give you this like wrong dream. It's like you go to university, you're guaranteed a job. When you graduate, it's going to be like rainbows and unicorns, but it isn't. And so I was very frustrated because I remember I like applied for over 100 resumes. And then
Damn, that was a lot.
I was working like as a server and I was working in retail and my Asian parents are just like, go find yourself a real job or go back to school. And so I was just like, well, I don't want to go like back to school for the sake of going back to school.
Yeah.
But I think after traveling and then really being focused, I really recognized like what I wanted to do, and so it was really good to like apply for a job and like get it and be like covered in that. And I was just super excited to like finally be an adult and get a full-time job.
So like, actually, you spoke about lost my train of thought. Sorry. Anyways, what is that thing that you really want to do?
Well, so I studied public relations university, and I really wanted to do marketing and like work in a company where I could really just get my feet wet And so the position that I got was great because I was filling for a mat leave. I could like really just get my feet wet and everything. And then especially work in something that had like a social impact sort of angle. And so my first job was in health technology that was focused like in the cancer space.
Oh.
So like essentially a software that helped cancer patients with their appointments and helped nurses track cancer patients from like diagnosis until survivorship.
Wow.
And for me, I felt like I was doing something that actually made an impact.
Yes, I'm all about that.
And that's like really what I want to do. And even to this day, it's still the same like industry that I am in. So like a social enterprise was essentially like sort of what I want to do, like a for-profit with like a social impact model. And so being able to start that as my first job and really get a taste of it was like very fulfilling for me.
That's so inspiring because I feel like everything you said was just like the more adult version, the resume version of like what drives me. Like I'm very driven by, I guess, a purpose that's deeper than serving myself.
Agreed.
Like I just want everything I do to be able to put good out into this world, help someone. Even this podcast, like maybe it's like a digital version of a journal for myself, but like if I can share my life vulnerably, feature other people that are amazing, right? Like I would say ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
That's a good word.
Yeah, like I would say everyone that comes on this show is like, I'm not special. I'm like, but your story is your story. It's not like any other, right? I'm here to feature your story. And I feel like the similarity in everyone's story is there's no one path that's right. Like what you just said earlier about like breaking the barriers of traditional thinking, like of graduating and then getting a job. That mindset, who invented that? Because I'm here trying to break that. Everyone I talk to in this space says like, so I'm doing this and doing this. The school part, the segue of after school is just like where we're at, like in our 20s, just like lost, and like no one tells us this. People just have expectations that after university you're just supposed to make it. And I'm like, I was sitting there in 2020 just like confused because I'm like, I definitely didn't make it and the pandemic hit, so like kind of had an excuse. But also like now that, you know, it's getting better, it's like now I have to do something. And when I'm talking about like do something, it's like what am I, and then when I met you, what am I doing? And also like the desire of like wanting to help people but also want to do what I love, that didn't come together yet. But you know, some mentor of mine told me like, you know, you're gonna do a bunch of jobs that you're gonna hate, but it's gonna build character, right?
100%.
Like it's very cliche, but I really see that like happening like even now, right? Like even though I'm doing a role that I really like, but I still feel like this is not the end. This is just another beginning of like another chapter. Like who knows what we will be, but I think it shouldn't be so set.
I
know,
agree.
like people are like, I'm not shaming other people who have big aspirations. Like I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, but like for me, it's more like I just want to be able to love others like unconditionally. And I think that statement is simple, but like harder said than done. Because here we are every day getting triggered here and there, making decisions, communicating with people, and sometimes it's out of spite. You just can't help put negativity out there. I'm like, how can I be like a modern hippie where like nothing bothers me? I said this term a lot throughout this podcast. I'm like, I really just want to be a modern hippie. I just want to not get affected by what the world does to me, but I want to be able to put out good. And I feel like this is so idealistic, but that's my goal in life. Like I don't really dream to be, even though in like a career aspect, like, you know, I went to school for this. Traditionally, I'm supposed to be that. Not pursuing that. Then what are you? And also not really defining myself based on my current career. So then people like, then what am I? I'm like, I'm just gonna be myself. I'm gonna be Nasha. and then learning what that means every day, and learning how to be like a daughter, learning how to be a friend, a coworker, and just like exist with people, I would say in a more healthy context. I feel like people don't spend enough time self-reflecting.
I agree.
We just exist. We get by. We just get by. I mean, I did a lot of that. I'm really good at being in denial. Or not just that, running away from negativity.
Yeah.
I just numb myself. And I would say I numb myself for like all the... In a way, I was really happy when I was in Toronto, but I was really numb. And when I moved back here, or the transition from Toronto to Vancouver, I had to, like, I went through this like shock of like clarity, but also sitting there by myself, like having to face my fears, face my issues, and going like, oh, like there is something wrong, but it's not the end. It's not definitive. So
I think that's so good, because I feel like, especially coming from like, you know, Asian families, I feel like from such a young age, you know, we've been taught this whole like, go to university, get an education, and then get a very successful 9-to-5 job, be comfortable, be stable. And like for me, like even going to university, I imagined myself working in Toronto, working at like an HQ,
no way.
making 6 figures, 9-to-5 stable job. That was like my dream. But what I realized was when I had like a very stable 9-to-5 job, I hated it. Like I just hated it. And like I realized what sparks my heart on fire isn't like working for a Facebook or for a Google, but it's like working for companies that really want to make an impact, that really want to make a mark in society to better people. And I think at the end of the day, people come first. I think our careers are just more like tools that help us reach people.
Actually, it's funny you said that you saw yourself, you know, like working in the top 5 or whatever. You know, I actually see you very capable of that, because for all the listeners out there, like when you see Celina work, because I'm like low-key like have to work under her, like she's the creative lead for Testo. She's productive, but like she gets things done. And she's like effective. Like, you know, you are a leader. I can really feel that assertiveness. Like you're not afraid to call it out, make big decisions. And like those are things like a leader should have, and I definitely see you like thrive in that sector. Like if you told me you worked at some big company, whatever, I'd be like, yeah, like I would not doubt it. But getting to know you more, getting to know like where your heart, like, you know, sits, it's awesome, because like that's where I sit. Like at the deeper, like you rather sacrifice the label, the money, for something deeper, something more honest. That's what I'm searching for. And I feel like maybe, quite honestly, in the past few years, I got lazy because I did settle for a 9-to-5. Never thought I would be that person. But I actually found myself like, oh, now I'm stable. Like I have a stable income. I'm able to like grow in this company. I'm able to help the people within the company. And the people around me in the company are like very supportive. Like I found myself comfortable. But some days I lack that push to fight for what I'm really born to do, which is being creative. And it's funny when you started off this podcast saying, oh, like, you know, I'm really creative. I feel like a lot of people know me as a very creative person outside of work. People at work have no idea who I actually am. But I think, yeah, maybe my blood is made of creative juices. I think people have said that to me a lot, and I think that's my comfort zone back in the days. And I think I was much more creative growing up. And then these couple of years, I got lazy, and I was just like, being a robot is just easier. I also was very emotional growing up, and these few seasons, I've scaled back my emotions, because I'm like, emotions get in the way. I just need to get things done. I just need to be pragmatic, do stuff, and not let my emotions take over me. And that's what it did for the past like a billion years of my life. But then I talk to some friends, and they say like, they remind me of my true self, of like being creative. So like even like, you know, doing this podcast, like investing in my creative projects, like it seems like out of the way, and it's not my priority. It doesn't have to be. Like my life does not depend on these things.
It's true.
I have a full-time job where I'm like good with. This is like outside of my job. It's like sometimes I struggle finding the motivation, but when I see it in a light where it's like a privilege for me to be doing this, not having to depend on this to make a living, I get more excited to invest back. And so I really do appreciate, like, you know, people like you, like, you know, you remind me of, I guess, what I'm born to do. I don't know, it's hard for me to say that, but also another thing that sparked conversations in the past is your desire of creating community within the creative industry.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool and much needed. Because like in my last episode, I talked to a creative friend who's a poet. We basically finalized like the conversation around like creatives really need creatives to like grow and be inspired. And you can't just be alone in like a room. And that's what I've been doing. I've been alone in my room, and I don't talk to people as much as before. I don't go out. I don't connect with people. Yeah. And creatives really need that space. So I don't know, like you would pitch me with that project. I don't know, do you remember about that flower project? There was some girl that wanted to do something with flowers in like Vancouver. No,
I think so. I did. Yeah.
I don't know, something like that about like community building. Yeah. And like getting local vendors and just like creative people. I don't know, stuff like that got me excited. And being able to do it with people, I think that's what also gets me excited. So like when I, you know, help out in a Tesla, I just love the community aspect of like doing something together. I think sometimes I'm like doing so much by myself. I'm like going nuts in my brain.
I agree.
I'm just talking to myself. I have all these ideas and I could do it, but I also don't have to. But when I like talk to someone about it and they give me feedback, good or bad, it really just helps it move forward, like the idea.
Yeah.
So
I think it also balances it out, because I think we all are strong in certain aspects. Yeah. And I think the reason why I believe that creators are called to be together is that we really play on each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
And I also feel like as creatives, we can call each other's potential out. Okay. Because like for me, I never thought I was creative. Because I work in marketing.
You always say that.
It's very like, you know, black and white, and
you are very like good at that though.
But I've also realized there is creativity in marketing. I think the way that you see like a social media calendar, the way that you see how content flows together or how content is aesthetically put together, that is creativity. But it took me a while to really like understand that. And a big help was like actually a friend of mine. He like was like, no, Celina, you are creative, don't deny that. It might not fit in a box, because I've always saw creativity as like, I need to play an instrument, or I need to like, you know, act, or like do something like draw or something like that. But he's like, just because your creativity doesn't fit in a box doesn't mean you're not creative. Actually,
that's such a good point, because that's what I was thinking about these days. Like, even though people say creative, I would say my issue right now being, like, this is why I'm not pursuing a creative role as my main job, is because I don't specialize in something specific. I do a bunch of everything, because I have a passion in a lot of different creative things. But I think where it comes together is art direction, I guess. Like, I have a vision or an idea, and I just I just want it to happen. Not necessarily like doing it. Like I'm capable of graphic design. I'm capable of filming, photography. But it's not like what I actually want to be doing. I actually like to think of an idea and make it happen. So that being said, like being creative, like I would say creative problem solving is involved with marketing. Just
It's
like,
true.
yeah, even actually when I think about my current job, like even though it's in the tech industry, maybe some people see it as very black and white. It's really not, because how we learn how to do the job is there's no handbook. So you have to think of solutions in a funky way. Like you just have to figure it out. And I think that's when creatives are creating art, they're actually solving a problem through a more visual, like abstract way.
Yeah.
So it's not so traditional. Like when people say, I don't draw, I don't paint, I don't specialize in something. I can do a bunch of creative stuff, but I don't specialize in that. But I would say the way I think maybe is not so,
You have an eye though. Like you see something and you can really think of multiple, I think, pathways that lead to the result, but like in a creative way.
Interesting. I didn't think of it like that, but
You're very innovative.
Innovative.
Yeah.
Okay. I will dive deeper into what that means. That's interesting. Innovative. I guess I like. Yeah.
You are.
I guess you're right, because I'm always thinking of like how to do something in a new way,
Yeah.
or a new perspective.
And that's innovation right there.
That's true.
It's true, because I think one of the biggest things that the pandemic has taught me is how do you be innovative? Because there is no rule book in how to do marketing during a world pandemic. I was never taught that in university. So literally when it happened, I'm like, what do I do?
Right.
So you just have to be very creative. Like, how do I reach my audience when we can't have in-person events? And I think that's where you recognize like the organizations that like did well are the ones that were innovative, and the ones that didn't do too well were the ones that stuck to traditional means of like marketing.
That's true. Like now when you say it like that, I'm thinking like how can I be successful in even a non-creative world, which is like currently tech? I have to be innovative. I need to figure out how to solve problems when there is no way to solve it, like A plus B. It's like you gotta figure out your own formula. Actually, that's what it is. Every day I'm figuring out my own formula and publishing that for the next gen. But same for creativity. There's no one way.
There's no rule book.
Yeah, there's no rule book. And I think that's what I like. I don't like rule books.
No, I agree, because I think that's the beauty of creative. There's actually no offenses, right? Creativity, like the true in its truest form, is really just doing something that no one has ever done before, or doing something better, right? And you see like all these artists that have a legacy for themselves. The reason why they have a legacy is they did something that no one else dared to do.
Oh yeah. You're on the point.
So that's what I really truly think, that creativity can be in any space, but you just have to be able to see it in a lens that's creative.
Right. Well, you put a lot of ideas out there, Celina. Right now I'm trying to process everything you just said. Like, I'm a thinker. Maybe I'm a slow thinker, but like, you put some really good ideas out there. So these are the conversations that I live for, honestly.
Thanks.
Super grateful to have you here. Thank you for your time. Thanks for your good vibes.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. But yeah, let's just, close it out here, our conversation at the Ketchup Café, because I feel like I need to sit back and think about some of the things you said. Like, you put really good points out there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I also look forward to working with you throughout this year at our Atesto event ministry. For those who's listening, this will be a ticketed event in November at the Michael J. Fox Theater if you're in Vancouver. So yeah, if any of you are interested, I'll put the links in the YouTube description box. But yeah, thank you so much for coming by to the Ketchup Cafe. And thank you for listening, for all of the listeners that support me on this pretty uncertain journey. But yeah, I'm just super thankful for everyone. So I'm putting good vibes out there, manifesting good vibes for this summer season to everyone. And yeah, have a good summer. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.